Steve, it takes guts to drop out like you did.
Higher education comes at the expense of experience.
Boss!
What are you working on?
It's a computer terminal that hooks up to the TV for the display.
Steve?
These are state of the art. Nobody's making anything like this.
Welcome to Apple Computer. Is this everything? Startup.
I think we should start with around 90 grand.
Could you repeat that?
If you'll have me aboard.
Trust me, I'm a I-N-D-E-P-E-N-D-E-N-T.
Apple Incorporated went public this morning.
Chasing dreams since I was 14. Y'all can't stop me.
We gotta make the small things unforgettable.
Typeface isn't a pressing issue. Get out.
He's trying to start a war with IBM.
Steve's been doing the impossible ever since it was in a garage.
I'm trying to build an Apple, and they're taking it away from me?
If you keep heading down this path, I will not protect you. It's a blatant ripoff.
I'm gonna sue you for every cent!
You are your own worst enemy.
The board is unanimous. Steve will no longer be involved in his company.
10 years after Steve Jobs' departure, the future of Apple Computer is in jeopardy.
In life, you only get to do so many things.
We're gonna make Apple cool again. Here's to the crazy ones. The misfits. The rebels. Because the people who are crazy enough to think they can change the world are the ones who do.
If we're gonna do this thing, we need to come up with a name. Apple. That is so much better than phaser beam computers.
How you doing, guys? My name is Eric Felix, and for my second event report, I'm going to do a movie review of the Jobs movie that came out earlier in 2013. It was directed by Joshua Michael Stern, and it was written by Michael Whiteley. The movie had an all-star cast, with Ashton Kutcher playing Steve Jobs, Dermot Mulroney playing Mike McCullough, and Josh Gad, the new up-and-comer, playing Steve Wozniak. The movie was about Steve Jobs going basically from a college dropout into one of the most successful entrepreneurs in recent memory. It did leave out a lot of parts, but it did include some cool stuff. A lot of people were worried that they were going to sugarcoat Steve Jobs' personality and portray him as a super great guy. But it was surprising to see how brutally harsh he was portrayed as a businessman or as a friend. He came across as an asshole in a lot of parts of the movie, whether it was backstabbing friends or failing to have any real personal relationships with anyone outside of work, also ignoring the birth of his first child. This movie failed for me as a biopic because I didn't get the feeling that I learned why he was important as an entrepreneur. The movie shows that Apple becomes very large, but it doesn't show the correlation between his moves as a businessman and the success of Apple as a company. It focuses more on his relationship with Apple, with an emphasis on him not working well with others, him losing Apple after being kicked out, and then getting Apple back. And then the movie, which opens up with Steve Jobs debuting the first iPod, culminates with the creation of those ugly multicolored iMacs. The movie fails to address, in depth, the very important relationship between Steve Jobs and Bill Gates and their historic courtroom battle. I can't help but compare the Jobs movie to the Social Networking movie about Facebook. Where the Jobs movie failed, Social Network did not. By watching Jobs, I didn't get a sense of why Steve Jobs, or Apple for that matter, was important in its time or even today. It relies on Apple's existing history, but it doesn't explain the evolution, why it's such a cult icon as it is now. Overall, I give this movie a 3 out of 10 because I still learned about Steve Jobs the person and a little bit about Steve Jobs the entrepreneur. With that being said, Jobs had many successes in his life. He started a company out of his parents' garage. He was able to get funding from Mike McCullough to grow his business. Then the movie jumps and they're in a very large building that Apple now operates from. He was able to innovate the personal computer with Apple I and II, even though the Apple II was over budget and grossly overdue. This ultimately led to his dismissal from Apple, but that was more about his personal relationships with the board of directors than his actual technical know-how. It's hard to get a sense of his business model because his ideas were disruptive technology. To some extent, this kind of technology needed to be force-fed to the masses because they didn't have any idea that that kind of technology is even possible. So it seems that Jobs was just some asshole that believed he knew better than everyone else and was going to produce whatever he wanted just because he felt that it was perfect and simple and it made sense to him. He didn't really take into account what the public might want or need. On the contrary, Team Beacon's business model encompasses what we believe to be a very valid business need for more security and simplicity to our public users. Our business model is a culmination of several existing technologies, incorporating near-field communications, Bluetooth, building mapping, and biometrics, to name a few. Fortunately, at the moment, these technologies exist and are abundant in the market within several products. By combining them in Beacon, we can definitely create a niche for ourselves. And with advances in these technologies, the product only gets better. Our major obstacle is getting the confidence of the masses to trust our product, that their personal information won't be compromised. Apple's reach is far beyond the limitations of my imagination. In the realm of technology, they are considered the tortoise in regards to the development of their products, often waiting for their competitors to develop technologies and work out the kinks and then fold them into the new Apple product, only after it has been perfected. They go through painstaking efforts to design the most artistically beautiful and simple products they can come up with. The movie fails to address it, but the introduction of the iPod would revolutionize the way we listen to music. That led to the iPhone, which redefined the cell phone, and then the iPad, which has changed the realm of tablets, while at the same time putting the emphasis on laptops and other mobile computing avenues and taking it away from the personal computer or desktop. And on the horizon, I don't know, but their next press conference is on October the 22nd, so we shall all find out soon enough. I'll leave you with a scene that sums up the Job movie. Thank you very much.
Here's to the crazy ones. The misfits. The rebels. The troublemakers. The round pegs in the square holes. The ones who see things differently. They're not fond of rules. And they have no respect for the status quo. You can quote them, disagree with them, glorify or vilify them. About the only thing you can't do is ignore them. Because they change things. They push the human race forward. And while some may see them as the crazy ones, we see genius. Because the people who are crazy enough to think they can change the world are the ones who do.